All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Jason Kirby. If this is your first time coming to one of our deck roasts, we were doing them weekly, but it was tough to keep up doing that every week and kind of doing all the prep and everything. So moving it to monthly, looking to make more improvements as we go. But this is the show where I dive deep into a bunch of decks that I've never seen before. I have no context. I do not know the founders. I do not know who submitted these. I do not look at them prior to me joining. Prior to the call. So you'll be seeing my initial reaction. The whole purpose of this show is to help founders understand what actually goes through a VC's head when they send out their decks. So the perspective that I use is predominantly is if you're sending a cold email to a VC, they don't know who you are. They, take a look at the deck, and they usually spend about 30, 60 seconds making a decision on whether or not they want to learn more or not. So basically, I'm taking those 30, 60 seconds and thinking out loud and explaining why those thoughts exist. So I take about 5, maybe 10 minutes per deck. And then I ultimately use my rubric of 0 to 5. 0 means you didn't even try. 5 means you're ready for money and you probably have money being thrown at you. And everything in between. If you want a better detailed breakdown of the rubric, you can just check out the event at Luma/Jason Kirby, so lu.ma/Jason Kirby, or on the LinkedIn or the YouTube post in and of itself. So before I jump in, I think let me just confirm here, see if we had one deck we were waiting on approval. Not sure if they gave it to us. Nope, they did not. So there's a couple decks that wanted to get reviewed, but didn't get back to us in time. So in terms of granting access. So we'll go through a couple decks today. And if you want your deck roasted, there's a couple terms with this. One, it's going to be live and it's going to be, in person. So if you have sensitive data that you don't want disclosed, you can remove those slides or remove those points or block them out or whatever, and then publish what you have. Or you can just put yourself out there and get the real honest feedback that a VC would give you for putting your best foot forward. And it's completely free. You just go to the Luma link and register and add your deck to the roast. You can email us, you can message us, just tell us that you want to be in the roast. And that said, I'll just give you a little context on me and kind of why I do this and what we do here at Thunder. So I'm a serial entrepreneur myself, built and sold a couple companies, raised a bunch of money, from venture, family offices, high net worth individuals, angels, and so on, across 3 different companies. Had successful exits, most notably selling a software company to Walmart. And I now help founders navigate the fundraising game. We have our podcast where we share stories of other founders that have raised capital successfully recently in this market, where it's called Fundraising Demystified. You can find that on YouTube or on any major publishing platform. Or you just follow me on LinkedIn. You'll see me post about it usually pretty frequently. We also have our platform, thunder.vc. That's a free tool for founders to come in and upload their information and see which VCs they should be spending their time on. So we have an algorithm that identifies most relevant VCs that are more likely to write a check to you at your stage and help you kind of narrow who you should go deep with in terms of trying to establish a relationship or a connection to. And then we also have our service side where we work with founders directly on helping them identify, what may be missing in their business to raise venture capital, or, kind of acting as their internal investment relations team to go out and connect the founders to VCs, get them funded ultimately. So that's everything at a high level. So today we're going to be going through, I think we have 3 or 4 decks lined up. And if any of you guys have questions, I do not allow the founders to come up and defend themselves. I'm going in with only what I got, and that's kind of how the world works. So that's the way I'm going to do it. But you are welcome to ask questions. You want to explain yourself, you can use the chat feature to do so. I'll try to keep an eye on it as we proceed. So I will go ahead. I'm just going to check, make sure everything's working on all fronts and there's no issues. Cool. Looks like we got everything live. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the first deck here. Share my screen. There. All right. So we're going to be looking at this first deck. First, know that you should never really send the slides, the editable slides. They should not be able to come into your deck and delete stuff for all the obvious reasons. So to this founder, that's just some healthy advice. Try not to send out Google Slide links. Try not to send out editable files. It should only be sending PDFs. Just basic old school PDFs. Maybe DocSends, maybe other things, like you can use links that have email. It's not terrible, but I usually frown upon it. Usually just send a PDF, like a PDF via Google Drive or whatnot. It's just faster, cleaner, easier. Don't make VCs think. Don't make them potentially make a mistake on your deck. So something to kind of keep in mind. All right, so Manta Ray EV, intelligent charging for clever EV. Yeah, everyone. Our mission is to reduce the carbon emissions by accelerating the message. Okay, sure, but why do we have these images of coral reefs? I find this to be very irrelevant to EV. Sure, climate change, but you're selling me EV charging. Don't show me the ocean, I guess. Problem, not enough charging stations. This looks like a half-baked deck. This doesn't look like it's been completely fleshed out. I don't know what stage this company's at, but I would imagine super early stage because this is not polished. So not enough charging stations, range anxiety, no fast way of building EV charging infrastructure. So they're referencing particularly looks like UK. And yeah, there's not enough EVs. I can agree with that. Or EV chargers. Inspired, trusted marketplace, sharing private charge points. Wow. Okay, so allowing people to rent out their chargers at home, or maybe like apartment buildings or something like that. Okay, 1 CP per. So basically, charge point, I guess, is CP. Again, try not to make me think. Try not to use acronyms unless you establish acronyms. So since I can edit your deck, I would do something like that. I would try to, emphasize if you're going to use that acronym, make sure that that acronym is referenced and established before you use it. Design is absolutely terrible. This would be completely unacceptable, in my opinion. And the reason why design matters, as much as people say they raise on like black and white decks, it's a representation of your brand and your execution. If you don't put forth your best effort on raising capital, then VCs are going to think that you're going to do that with your customers, and that's usually not a winning strategy. Okay, validation. Drivers use Spot Hero. Okay, so a lot of people use apps for driving related stuff, charging and parking. Okay, so not really arguing there. So electric vehicles shouldn't be your addressable market. Charging should be your market, and how much money is being made on charging. So I would probably rethink how you came to your numbers here. So you're saying, yeah, because you're basically saying, okay, private chargers, that's how many are sold. So chargers would probably make more sense, but I don't know how you get to 220 billion from 280 billion. Like, I don't know how you're making these numbers. So again, you're making me think, and that's gonna lose me. I don't know how you get to 100K. This doesn't seem logical. It just sounds like made up numbers. You have no references to where this data was captured or pulled from. So yeah, this is a losing slide. Service private charge point, or search private charge points, book it. Okay, so this is the product. Yeah, it's always good to have. I don't know why you have it going down like this. I'd probably just keep it level, and I'd probably use much higher quality screenshots. These look blurry, which again, just attention to detail, guys. That's important. But yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer product. It makes sense. It's just what are the unit economics and how much have you done to date to prove it? So 20% commission, charge 5% fee. Wait. Okay, so you're taking 20% from the whatever is being charged to the driver. So I guess you're netting 25% on the transaction. So similar to, I guess a flip of Airbnb. Airbnb usually charges the booker, the guest, the higher fee, but you're here charging the host of a higher fee. So you're expecting to make $50. So assuming they're spending $1,000 a year on charging, which seems high for like a supplemental charger. I imagine this would be more in a jam, like they don't have a Tesla charger or whatnot. I can see like the overall concept is, not bad. I get it. I get what you're doing. So that's pretty much the main point of a deck. I guess I would just, Airbnb proved that people were willing to share rooms when that was thought to be impossible. I hesitate letting people park in my parking spot and use my charger and having me deal with when it's available, when it's not available, and how that's going to be tracked and how that's going to be monitored and all that kind of stuff. And so I have a lot of like logistic issues. Like if my car is there parked using it, is it going to be automatically off the system? Do I have to manually do it? Because I'm not making a lot of money here as a host or as a charging point. I don't know what the unit economics are on that front. All right, so 20 years as an executive, cool. Experience in 2 previous spin-off startups. Okay. Okay, so I don't know what delivered for SaaS products means. So you're on the sales side, you're the marketing side. You don't really kind of say what your role is here, Mark. I would suggest that you specify a little bit more clearly. All right, so you got a technical CTO. Great. So this guy looks like he's capable of building it. And delivered, I guess, means you built technical products that ended up with $100 million in value, I guess. So it seems like a seasoned team in terms of building, businesses, maybe they're as employees. I'm not sure if it as entrepreneurs. And I don't recognize a lot of these logos. Maybe these are important in the UK. I gotta, not sure. Also, I always say this in all our deck reviews, when it comes to listing your advisors, make sure they are notable and recognizable people. So like, an author, speaker, blockchain. I'm not sure why blockchain might be relevant, but I'm usually lean towards not having advisors in a deck unless they are very well connected or have like substantial prestige. None of these stand out to me at this point, but if they're important to your business and they're having a huge impact and you talk about them in your investor meetings, sure. But it's usually something I don't suggest. Partnerships. Let's go my deck via Slack. Oh, we got a deck came in. Hold on, I'm just gonna double check real quick to see if we got another deck. Perfect, we got it. Cool. We'll add that one in a second. All right, so traction. This is not traction. These are bullet points. Traction should be like, we have this many sales, we have this many people, growth hacking, referral, waiting list. Okay, well, how many people are on the waiting list? It's like, give me some data. Appointed 2 board advisors. Okay, that doesn't help at all. That's not traction. These are bullets. So this means you have no traction. Okay. Pre-seed funding, 350K. Again, these things don't matter. Everyone kind of knows how you're going to spend their money. Sounds like you're going to spend it on product development, but is that people or is that like a software development agency? Please make it the latter. Q3 2023 version 1. Okay, so you're going to get to 700 users now. So you're launching now, and you should have 700 users. But 700 users doesn't mean VCs hate the word users. They don't care about users. They care about DAUs, MAUs, transactions, customers, average order value. Like they care about numbers that mean something. Like the fact that you got a couple downloads doesn't mean anything, and you should, also recognize that as a founder. I've talked to founders like, we have 1 million users. And I was like, okay, well, how many users showed up in the last month? Like 5,000. I was like, okay, you have 5,000 users that actually care about your product. How many new users did you get? And they're like 4,000. Okay, so you have no retention. That's why VCs hate when you say users, because it's just a vanity metric that doesn't mean anything. So be very specific. Define, what your target revenue will be, how many MAUs you will have. So for this company, like how many charges or charge sessions are they expected to have? How many chargers will be active on the platform? Give me definitive goals. This is not substantial. Exit slide, sure. This. So going back to my rubric, I'm going to give this deck a 1. Well, I'll give it a 2. Like, I get what you're selling. Airbnb for chargers, super clear. Execution, a 0. I think you don't demonstrate that you're the team to be the winning team with a deck like this. And when you're raising pre-seed, it's all about the team. It's like you have a cool idea. All right, cool. That's, it's an idea. What have you done? What have you built? What are you capable of? Why are you the team to back? And that's what pre-seed investors want to see. They don't want to just see you have an idea. They want to see that you're capable, you're working towards it, you have thought it through, and you are a team that could win this market, that you could be the Airbnb of EV chargers. All right, moving on to deck number 2, powering the future of gaming. So meet the team, good. Kind of establishing team. I would probably make it a little bit more legible. Also, I would suggest linking to LinkedIn so I can dive in a little bit more, get a little bit more reference. I'm going to probably just look at the CEO and see what makes them the most credible. But it's nice that you have some people here. I'm not sure what the company's doing yet, so I'm not sure how relevant you guys are to each role. But so 2 founders, a COO. They look like non-technical founders, so that's always not an issue, but something that can be an issue. So venture backed before, great. Was it successful? Was it not successful? That makes a difference. Okay, I'll be honest. I would not, if I wasn't doing this live, I would not read these. It's too much text for me to review. Just give me like the logos, give me the highlights. Again, I don't need to know everything about your team. I just need to know, like, all right, do you guys seem credible? That's all I'm doing on these first, deck screens as a VC. You just quickly see, like, is there credibility around the team? Yes or no? I'll dive in later if I think there's something interesting here. But I do want to kind of see, what are the top selling points. But I have to sit here and read, paragraphs, and I don't want to read paragraphs. And then head of data concerns me. Is like, all right, is he technical? Is he just an analyst? Head of ops. So again, I'm not seeing any technical talent. So how technical is the product? Antler, I think you probably should maybe call this out a little bit more, put this somewhere not kind of in the shadows over here, that Antler's backed you, or that you're part of their studio or whatever they have. It's called for kind of spinning up new companies and working with founders. The vision. Sure. All right, let's get to the problem. I don't really, like, this is nothing like substantial. Like, we love gaming. It's like, all right, cool. Like, again, I imagine this is super early stage, trying to get investors excited. I don't know if this adds or subtracts. It'll depend on the investor. For me, it's a neutral. It doesn't help you. Game studios are failing at an increased rate. Lack of innovation with the gaming industry. Game studios are building for trends that exist now and not in 24 months. I don't know what trends would exist in 24 months. Gaming's really hard to predict. And it's usually better to build for what works now and know that's true, but okay, that's your thesis. The future of gaming. The future is centered around, is that typo? Don't have typos, please. That's again, attention to detail. The design's not bad, but like, just keep an eye out for interesting gamers. Industry, no. Okay, again, you're making me read. Like, I don't want to read paragraphs. I want to be able to quickly skim and know what the hell's going on. I don't know what you're doing yet. And I'm in slide 5. I know you want to make gaming better, but you haven't really told me what you're doing. So you capture information on users, I guess. Use AI to integrate. So you're using AI to interrogate and uncover trends. Interrogate trends. Okay. It sounds like you're kind of going like big, lofty vision, but it's not landing with me yet. Okay, here's the solution on slide 6. Really making me work for it. Kickback, the desktop app. Kickback is a gaming rewards platform giving gamers an in-game items, gaming currencies, and gift cards. You can connect 1,500 games, allowing a seamless experience for users, ensuring high retention and high engagement. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm hesitant. I've seen so many gaming platforms promising to solve gaming, and then Activision and Blizzard just keep on doing what they're doing, and these apps never really go anywhere. In most cases, it's very hard to retain gamers, and you can try giving away free stuff, but what usually happens, you give away free stuff, they commit fraud. I know because I built gaming company, or gaming related companies and communities. All right, so you're doing loot boxes, credits, in the store. So okay, stuff like this already exists. The main publishers already do this. So what are you doing differently? Unloading games, we make that experience more engaging. Okay, using in-game questions to keep the players actively good. So it doesn't. I guess maybe between all the loading, in 10 minutes. But usually those loading screens could be 5 seconds. It could be a minute. It depends. It's usually when I go run to the restroom real quick and come back when I'm playing games. So again, I'm not really convinced of the thesis here overall. And if the world needs this solution, so. And there's just so much to read. I like the design and layout, but it's just you're really making me read to know what you're doing. You're not showing me anything, really. Okay, so you track all this data, but have you tracked anything yet? Have you built the ability to track all this stuff? This is hard data to get. What are you doing to actually capture it? Powerful AI. I don't even know if you guys are pre-seed, seed, do you have traction, don't have traction. You haven't established any credibility for me to really dive into. Again, I'm aesthetically pleased by the layout, but I just don't want to read. You're just really making me work, and I don't want to work. VCs, we got a million other things to do. All right, AI for screening data that we don't know if you have access to. Okay, you have 2,000 downloads. That's pretty insignificant in the gaming world. I guess, okay, you're on Overwolf, got it. Did you get a grant from Overwolf? Are they backing you guys? I'm pretty familiar with Overwolf and kind of what they're doing. So, okay, now I know how to get access to the data because you're using Overwolf. Okay, so 15,000 questions answered. Okay, I'd be curious to see what the user experience looks like. Okay, we're extended their partnership with us by pushing our application to their users, and be curious how far they went with you. I mentioned this earlier, okay, so you have advisors, the BD guy at Overwolf's an advisor. I don't know how, these all look like, maybe just helpers, maybe idea people. They don't give you a lot of credibility. Previously raised 120 and 1.2 back in September of last year, and got an R&D grant. Great. So you're raising 300K for 24 months. It's hard to believe that you guys will survive for 24 months with 300K, but ramen goes a long way, I guess. The next 12 months, again, you're just making me read so much. I don't want to read this. I don't want to read it. All right, so traction is not very significant. I'm not convinced of the thesis that this is game changing. I would say the one thing that is interesting is the fact that you've had 15,000 questions answered and only 2,000 organic downloads. How much did you pay out? How much did it cost? What's the unit economics on this? You don't really elaborate on that. You don't really show me how it all works. Just here's the app, so I guess I play, and every 3 games you win. I guess maybe it's a pop-up that comes up. You have an ad, I guess. It's not appealing. If you're reaching out to me cold and I don't have context to you, and I'm in the, I've done gaming, and I've seen stuff like this. I don't see big winners in the space, so I probably wouldn't bet on this. The deck design is cool. The excess on copy is just way too much. You're making me read an excessive amount of words to know what you're doing. It should be easier to explain what you're doing. You should have better visual representation of how the product works to make me read less. I'm going to give this 1 a 2. I just don't think it's there yet. I think you really polished designing it, but 2, 2.5. It could be a 3 if you cut your words by 80%. All right, moving on. Okay, let's look at these guys. Revolutionizing online shopping, a shopping platform that combines the best of social media and e-commerce to offer a personalized shopping experience to Gen Z's offer. Okay, you're already losing me. Social shopping is, not a big winner. There's been a ton of companies that have tried it. I'm already coming at this with a negative lens. So just, heads up, pattern recognition. That's what VCs do. They look at what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked, and they look at deals with that, in their head. And there's been a lot of companies that try to do this. That most of them never go anywhere and never really get past, seed or pre-seed. And the players that are already in it that dominate, Meta, Google, the big guys, TikTok, you're gonna have to say, like, how are you going to be better than them? Like, how are you gonna convince me that you're gonna, beat them? That's where my head starts on the first slide. So be careful with how you guys position it, and try to back yourself up immediately with credibility if you're going into a kind of overdone industry. There's some media. The internet has changed dramatically, but the way we shop hasn't. Centralized platform for social media. Okay, scattered across. Sure. So that's the problem, I guess. I don't know how painful this problem is. People are still buying trillions of dollars every year. So I don't know how painful this problem is and why they need you. Looks like not a painkiller. Centralized shopping platform that uses social media tactics to enable like tactics. That's so broad. Like, what's your actually winning solution? And how are you going to beat Amazon, like, that has hundreds of millions of reviews with validation? Not just search. Like, Instagram and TikTok already force feed you a million different products based on your interests. So I don't see why you're going to win here. This stuff already exists. Like, I'll be honest, I'm going through this deck at this point because it's submitted, and I feel like I owe it to the founder to review the details and try to pluck out things to share with the rest of the audience. But this deck, like, this idea, I've already written it off. If I was a VC, I would have exited out, not responded to the email, and have moved on. Like, I had, like, this would have, literally no interest. You have, when you're going into, like, dating apps, social media apps, like, you need to hit me with traction, and it has to be real sexy traction for me to even want to take a look any further. It's so overdone, it's so competitive, and everything gets gobbled up by the big guys, and they hire all the best talent for this stuff. Like, it's very hard to convince a VC to jump in on something like this. All right. Yeah, you got, this is what you want, sure, but don't believe it. Okay, so this is an interesting way to kind of say how you're gonna do it, and then you kind of address Samsung some here, like, yeah, sure, that's the market, but what are you guys doing to win that market? How do you earn 5% on each purchase? Do you have deals with the merchants? Do these merchants have to upload their content to you? Like, is it all affiliates? Getting all those affiliate agreements is hard. You have limited product categories. Or people, Amazon only pays like 2%, 3%. How are you going to get 5% and you have no traction? So again, like, losing points. Just not convincing me that you're a winning company. Go to market. We'll aggregate and scrape products. Okay, so you're going to scrape products. That's how you're going to get stuff. And then how are you going to get shoppers? Through social media, email, and marketing. You're done. Like, this is, I'm barely able to get through this just because I don't, like, that doesn't give you any credibility at all. This is all pie in the sky. We're hoping to be a winning company. We hope this, we hope that. It's not something that's substantive. And VCs have way too many other deals to look at that have a lot more going for it and have a lot better focus that can have a bigger impact. And this is just not meeting that need. This is a nice to have if it wasn't already existing from the biggest players in the world. 281 users with 15% growth rate with 450. Like, you're scraping products, you only have 456. So you launch a product, partnership with micro influencers, raising raising, like, how are micro influencers going to really move the needle for you guys? How are you going to retain these people? How, like, we already get bombarded with a million ads on what to buy on Amazon and on Target and all our social media apps, and they're pretty good. Like, I get good I buy from ads, but what are you gonna do to like compete with that level of data and recommendations that thousands of engineers are working on every day? You've only raised 51K, so you probably won't be able to get very far. From a team, 5 years in experience, like you're going after something that's absolutely massive, and you need a ton of capital to be able to pull it off. So looking at this, 5 years, product development generating over 5 minutes, like sounds like you ran a good, maybe business, small business. I don't know if it was your company or you just were contributing to it. Finance, CTO had a product, 5 years of software development. Like, you don't mention where people worked. Eli Levy, these again doesn't help you much. So I'm gonna give this deck a 0. I hate to be such a pessimist here, and I know this will probably hurt their feelings, but I have to be honest on these things and tell people kind of how we approach decks as a VC. We get 1,000 decks. Like, what are you doing that's special? And there's nothing special about this business that isn't already being done. And there wasn't a clear billion-dollar founder who's done this before, who's going to do it again, like kind of thing in this story. So it's just not going to gain traction. And I would encourage you guys to maybe pivot towards a different idea. Yeah, that's the hard truth. I have one more deck. I'm going to try to drop in here. The switch screens, it looks like. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and switch to another. All right, last deck. Make it a little bit wider here. And it froze. All right, there we go. All right, iPrune getting intellectual property to work. Interesting. I want to know what's not working about IP. Welcome to iPrune, the world's first AI-based platform that turns costly and dormant IP into money-earning assets for your business. All right, I'm intrigued. I don't know what you're going to do or how it works, but that piques my interest a little bit. Our vision is to reduce intellectual waste by providing solutions to maximize new and existing intellectual property. Okay, kind of repetitive, like, not sure that's super valuable, that slide, but, or maybe a combination, combine these two slides. You don't really need these two, just an extra click I have to go through. Large IP portfolios are expensive to maintain, and opportunities to reduce costs are hard to pinpoint. PE and patent are not designed to effectively minimize maintenance cost or maximize cash flow. A typical medium okay, probably too long of paragraphs. The pain could probably be simplified into a couple more simpler points. I'm aware of this. I have friends that work in the space and know that it can be costly to maintain them, but like maintaining involves a lot of things. Like there's legal disputes and stuff like that. So I'm curious what all right, optimization that can free resources to be used. Kind of lost me on that punchline there. I like kind of the design and layout here, but I'm flowing. I'm getting through the deck, but optimization that can free resources to be used just doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound impactful. Doesn't sound measurable. Rapid response, pound performance, pruning. Oh, I get the name now. Okay, so iPrune. Show me, don't tell me. Constant AI curation of the world's. I guess I don't know what does that mean. Curation. Provide exclusive access to world's leading. Okay, you're making me read a lot. Single source administration, payment, contract. As an AI driven. Oh, you're gonna do NFTs and tokenizations. Not sure that's what the buyers of this product want. Turns costly and dormant IPs into money earning assets. How is it earning money? What is it doing differently? So basically, you're trying to relicense IP and sell it to other people, or maybe split revenues, I guess, maybe by doing NFT stuff. I'm losing interest. The world's only NFT marketplace for patents. So that's what you're really trying to say, but you don't want to call it out in the beginning because NFTs and Web3 is not cool anymore. And if I would have saw this probably at the very beginning, it probably still would have gotten through it, but I would have, coming out with a more skeptical lens. So now you're kind of hitting me here. So not a bad strategy, just in terms of the deck management. You got me to get this far, but do people that manage patents really want NFTs? And the answer is probably no. So that's what I'm immediately where I go to. I'm trying to put myself in the customer's shoes. Do enterprises really want NFTs or their patents? A focusing device for the trading of expertise and know-how from enterprise to startup. What is a focusing device? All right, you're losing me. I'm kind of not following anymore. You had me kind of hooked at the beginning, but then you've kind of led to disappoint me. IP owner prunes it, list it, and then sell, license, or partner. I guess who are they licensing to? Like who's the buyer? So there's a large fee to access it. Okay, so maybe some large revenue here, but I just got to know, do people think they're sellable and they're just not selling them, or who's the buyer on the other side and how they monetize now? Guess I'm not seeing like the big picture. Okay, so it's super early. Makes sense now. Product development. Okay, now I want to know about the team. Like, can this team even build it, or they're competent in the space? This probably should have been like in the problem statement. Competition, Questel, service providers for the lawyers. Probably maybe use some color here, like it's these little checks and things are kind of small. So maybe I'm just not qualified to really judge this opportunity because I don't really know what it means by pruning a patent portfolio. I guess that's just not really my expertise or understanding of how patents work. But so it could be just reviewing this from the wrong lens. So I apologize to the founder. Process. I guess, what are you optimizing? Yeah, I guess I don't really know what's being optimized. Like, what data are you ingesting, and how do you get access to the data? What kind of, Room combines analytics with workflows, tools. Invention review request. This is repetitive. It's the same slide from before, and it's now from last year and this year, so it looks like you have some old slides in here. Now I'm really confused. I have analyzed our TAM from two perspectives. Okay, maybe this is just like the appendix that they forgot to remove. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of interested in the beginning here because I've never, it's something novel. Like, novel is important when it comes to raising money. VCs want to see something interesting. They want to be found, they don't want to back the same old thing. So I thought there was something novel here, but it just wasn't clearly articulated as to like, how does this all work and how does this all make sense? When you're doing novel, you have to really kind of give it some background information, not like an essay, but just kind of make it clear and concise as to what makes it special and why I should consider giving you my money. And again, the deck's just meant to get a meeting. I bet you probably get a lot of tier 3 VCs or like Web3 VCs just kind of kicking the can and just being like, all right, are you onto something? And you're just not articulating it well. Maybe they take a meeting with you and just kind of explore. But also, where's the team? Now it's super red flag. Super red flag. If I see crypto something and I don't see a team, or I see like fake, avatars, it's like game over. Like, that stuff does not fly in this market. And you're doing the Web3 thing, and it sounds like you're trying to be cryptic around it. Like, that's all red flags. So because of that, that's a huge red flag, especially pre-seed. It's all about the team. It's like, I'm betting on the team. Are you lawyers that have done this before and have clients already? Like, you haven't established any credibility. So I'm going to go with a 1 on the slide. I was hoping for some good decks. Like design actually was great. Love the design. It was very simple, but obviously you don't have a lot of credibility and you're just kind of filling the rest in with text. And also use of funds is terrible. I forgot to mention, I say this every time, but tell me what your outcomes will be with the money, not how you're going to spend the money. Everyone knows you're going to spend it. Show me what you're actually going to achieve. Like, okay, product to market with $100,000 in ARR, and we're gonna have these clients, and we're gonna do this. Like, tell me what's gonna get done, so that I know that I give you my money so that someone else down the road will want to give you money too. That's basically your use of funds slide. All right, that was it. That wraps the show. Gotten some feedback here. Sorry, I didn't get your deck for XCINEX. I don't know, Xenex's deck. I don't think that was submitted. Trying to see if there's any other comments that might have come in. No, it doesn't look like it. So really appreciate you guys joining me today. If you guys want more feedback on your deck, or you want maybe a private deck review, be sure to reach out to me or use the link in my LinkedIn to check out kind of our Linktree page where you can book a private session where I'll go and not do this publicly. And I'll give you the feedback and adjustments you need to make to your deck to take it to the next level. So I'm always happy to do those. And as always, if you have questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn or email. Happy to just kind of continue supporting the founder ecosystem. And I know it's pretty harsh on these decks today, so I apologize, but I haven't eaten my lunch yet, so that might be a little bit of it. So hopefully you found this useful, and we'll be back next month. And if you guys want your deck submitted, just be sure to submit it on the Luma/Jason Kirby link. So lu.ma/Jason Kirby. You'll see the monthly deck review event. Click on that, RSVP, upload your deck, or link to your deck. Make sure you give permissions. Makes my life a lot easier when you give me like a link with permissions. And hope to see y'all at the next one. Appreciate everyone's time, and see you guys next month.